4 criminals, 1 broken time machine, and the middle of World War II, and none of them were even slightly prepared for what was coming next. Trevor pressed a button he was told not to press, and all 4 of us landed face first in a muddy field in 1944. France with artillery in the distance, and Michael still on the ground, not moving. Franklin read the whole situation. In about 10 seconds, Michael went completely pale and could not speak. Trevor was breathing it all in like a holiday, and Tommy had already picked our direction without saying a word. Franklin spotted 2 Nazi soldiers and held everyone back. Trevor was already moving before Franklin could stop him, and the 3 of us just stood there waiting. And then it went quiet, and Trevor came back, fixing his shirt. Tommy got the resistance fighter to trust us in about 2 minutes. She led us into tunnels under the village, and Michael hit his head on every single beam the whole way through to the hideout. Franklin broke down the Nazi patrol pattern in 5 minutes, and the resistance leader could not believe it. Michael found a family photograph on the wall and sat with it a long time and said nothing to anyone. Tommy asked the resistance leader exactly the right question. Trevor found the weapons room and never wanted to leave, and when all 4 of us stood at that map, we each knew exactly what our part was without being told. Franklin was training resistance fighters like he had done it his whole life. Michael found the Nazi radio frequency and immediately knew how to use it, and Trevor and Tommy did reconnaissance together, which was exactly as chaotic as it sounds. Tommy walked up to a Nazi checkpoint alone with weapons pointed at him, spoke to the commander directly, and walked back with everything we needed. And Franklin could not speak for a full minute after watching that. Michael wrote something on a piece of paper and put it against his chest before we left, and nobody asked what it was. And when Trevor nodded at the resistance fighters before stepping out, nobody expected that either. Michael's false radio orders were clearing the streets ahead of Tommy, before Tommy even reached them. Franklin's fighters were moving like a real unit, and the whole operation was actually working exactly as planned. Trevor hit the front of the headquarters like a natural disaster. Franklin took the eastern flank with complete precision, and Tommy was already inside, moving through corridors like he had lived there his whole life. Tommy sat down across from the Nazi general like it was a business meeting. Trevor owned the entire courtyard, and Franklin and Michael found each other inside and went to back Tommy up without anyone asking them to. Franklin and Michael walked into the command room, and Tommy was already sitting across from the general like they were having lunch. And then Trevor arrived in the doorway covered in dust, genuinely surprised it was already done. When we stepped outside, villagers were coming out of hiding, and Michael watched a family reunion with his hand on the letter in his pocket, and a resistance fighter put his hand on Franklin's shoulder without saying a word. Trevor sat on those steps and watched the town celebrate and said nothing. And when all 4 of us found each other in the square, the celebration was happening all around us, and none of us had any words for once. The time machine was in a ditch, and Trevor pulled it out while Michael pushed, and when we had it back, the resistance fighters came to watch us go, and the young fighter raised her hand at Franklin, and he raised his back. If you stayed till the end, you already know, like and subscribe for more.